I'm Larry Richardson, your step-by-step chef, and welcome to the third episode of Cooking and Camping with the Step-by-Step Chef, the Camping Division. Now, what I'm cradling in my hands right now is my home sweet home when I am car camping. It's my tent. I have a 3-season tent, which is what most people use unless they're going up over the tree line and up into snow and ice. Then you want a 4-season tent. And quite frankly, I have tried a 4-season tent and it's very cocoony. There's not a lot of air exchange in it, and quite frankly, I didn't enjoy it. I found it very claustrophobic, and sometimes even the humidity from your own body and breath can build up and rain down on you. Now, if you're really hardy and you're going to do the above the tree line, super cold conditions in the snow, go for that 4-season. Most of us want a 3-season tent. And I'm going to show you why, because I'm going to show you how to put this tent together. I'm going to give you some tips on erecting your tent. And it sounds simple, but there are a few things you can do that will make yourself super comfortable and enjoy camping a lot more. So come on, let me show you how to put together a tent. Now, the only thing I want to caution you is read the instructions for your specific tent, because every tent is a little bit different. There are those tents that you can just take out of the bag, you throw them down, and they pop themselves up just like magic. And then there are tents that require like ropes and you go on and on. This tent just has like a pole system that's very easy to do, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So come on, let's put a tent together. Now, the first thing you want to do is decide where you want to site your tent. There's a shady area over there. This is a pretty exposed area with a beautiful view. That's what I love about this. It's like buying real estate, you know? Do you want the beautiful view or do you want the shady spot? You know, because in the morning when the sun comes up, boy, the sun hitting a tent, that'll wake you up fast. It's a great alarm clock because it gets hot in a tent really fast. So anyways, I'm going to put it up in the sun for our demonstration purposes. The first thing you want to do is find a level area. Now, some campgrounds will box out the level area for you, so you'll know exactly where to set it up. This is a primitive campsite with absolutely no services. You have to bring everything, and you have to take everything out that you do, including your duty. So this is a very different kind of site, but what you need to do is find that flat spot and then clear it of rocks, sticks, and anything that might abrade your ground sheet on your tent, or potentially stick through your tent itself. So you always want to come in, kind of clean up the area a little bit. You know, just give it a look over. Make sure there isn't anything sharp that's going to stick through your tent. And once you're done with that, we'll do the next step. Okay, so you cleared the area of rocks and debris that might stick through your tent, and you have a nice level area. Now, I'm serious about that level area. You don't want to try to sleep in a tent uphill or sideways or whatever. It's a very weird experience and you won't sleep. Most people cannot sleep at an angle. It's just too jarring to them. So the next thing we want to do is lay down our ground sheet. Now, some tents are being sold today without ground sheets. Check and see if your tent comes with one. What a ground sheet does is it keeps moisture, not that I'm going to have it out here in the desert, but it keeps moisture from rising up and saturating the bottom of my tent. But even more than that, it provides an extra barrier against other friction with the ground, any other rocks and sticks I might have missed. It provides a barrier for that. So it does have value. If you have a tent that came without a ground sheet, there are videos and articles about how to make a ground sheet. Just make sure the ground sheet's a little smaller than the profile of your tent, because if you don't do that, the ground sheet, if it rains, will pick up the water and channel it under your tent. So you literally want this underneath by an inch or two the bottom of your tent. So let me go get the tent. Okay, here we are back with, let me crouch down. Here we are back with Tent Suite 10. Now, I put some rocks down to try to keep the ground sheet in place, and I'm just gonna have to work around that because it's kind of windy out here. I will remove those rocks as we're working on the tent. The other thing I want to tell you, when you're picking out a tent site, make sure that it's not in an area that if it rains heavy out, water's gonna run through it. Like putting a tent next to a stream sounds like a great idea until you're next to a stream and you have a thunderstorm go through. If the stream rises up, you're gonna be wet. If water rushes down the hill, you're gonna be wet. The other thing is kind of look around and make sure that everything's stable. Make sure there's no loose tree branches or anything like that when you're picking a site. So those are just a couple of other tips for you, and I hope they help. So the tent is in this cocoon. And the first thing I want to do is take out the fly. I'm just going to hold on to this. But take out the tent with the netting itself. Like I told you, this is a 3-season tent. So the tent itself is primarily netting. And that's really good for circulation of air to keep you cool. And during the day, you can even take the fly off, which I'm going to show you in a moment, the rain fly. You can take that off and kind of enjoy the day with a nice breeze coming through, you know, without mosquitoes biting you, or whatever's going on out at your site. So let me show you what to do with this. Okay, so that's all straight. And you can see that the tent covers that ground sheet. So that's what I want. Because again, if the ground sheet sticks out, then water will catch the lip and it'll go onto your tent. And then you're gonna have some water problems. Next up comes our tent poles. So here are our tent poles. Now try to keep all of this as clean as you can. Your tent will last longer, it will function properly longer, and if you get dirt and grit on these, then it's going to get into these springy mechanisms and how they fit together. Let me show you. It'll get into this mechanism and it will make it not slick. So try to keep everything as clean as possible every single time you camp. So we shake this out and you can see each of the joints, it actually wants to go together to form the pole shape. And then this tent came with a hub that makes the process even easier. You can see, let me try to bring that down. So it comes with a hub that makes it easier to get the poles put together, because this is the starting point of the poles. And this is a little hard to work with a camera, but we're going to do it. I'm going to show you how to do this. So our poles are in the proper shape. According to the instructions, the gold tips on the poles go to these gold clips on the tent itself. Go. Now, here's another tent building tip. Do this at home before you try it on the road. Do it at home. Make sure that you have all the pieces you need for your tent. Do this with all of your outdoors equipment. Put it together at home. Get familiar with it. Don't do this the first time out on the road, because if there's a piece missing, you're in big trouble. Or if you don't know how to put it together and you arrive at a site and you're totally flummoxed, you got no place to sleep. So practice, do it at home. Okay, and I just have one more leg. Now I'm going to get rid of those rocks that I used to weigh down the operation, because I don't want them to scratch up the tent. Pull the fly to a central position. I mean the ground sheet. Okay, and then I have one more bar that I have to install. One more pole. And it's starting to look more like a tent, isn't it? Okay, so it's all balanced on this. Then it's just a matter of clipping it up. Here's our clips. And now it'll really look like a tent is supposed to look. Now you can see the wind wants to take it, so I have to hold it down while I'm doing this. This is why we spike the tent down. We stake it down. We have to stake it down so it doesn't fly off into the canyon. Watch your house soar away. It's probably nothing sadder. I'll do this side. Now, if you are out in a hot environment, this might be good enough for you. You might just want the netting. If you don't need the privacy, this netting might be good. You can see the breeze will come through. It'll keep you nice and cool. In most environments, that's not going to be enough. That's why you get a tent with a good water-resistant or waterproof fly. And what the fly does, goes over the top. And usually, with most tents, like in this one, I match the red corner on the tent, with this red corner on the fly, and I'll know how it goes together. Again, I'm working against some wind, so it's not super graceful, but I can correct for all of it. So this corner has the red clip on it. I want to show you what that looks like. Okay, so I'm pulling the fly down over the tent per the instructions. I haven't staked it down, so it's trying to take off. And this is what I wanted to show you. There's the red clip. Now, not all tents are color-coded, so you might have to work with this a little bit. But, sorry about the camera work. I just put that loop underneath, and that's attached. I'm doing the preliminary attachment of the fly. And here's a yellow loop. That just goes right there. And then I'm going to tighten these. And then I have another yellow over here. Sorry if you're getting seasick. Okay, so that's under there. And each corner has one of these loops. Okay, so that's the preliminary attachment of the fly. Let me put you back up here. Whew. It is hot out here. Okay, so now I'm just gonna line the tent back up, line back up with the ground sheet. Now this tent has an inner clipping mechanism that attaches to this pole. So there's the clip. And I just put that over like this. And there's one on the other side too. Okay, so that helps hold everything together. And then there are the loops that we were attaching before. There are little pulls. You just pull it down like this. So that makes the fly a lot tighter. Let me just close this. So this tightens the fly, just pulling these loops down. Okay, so you can see the tent with the fly on it. This again helps to keep out water. It keeps out dew, which can form on your tent overnight and rain down on you. And it keeps out the rain and it protects you from the wind too. So a tent with a good fly is a must. When you read reviews, make sure that people are saying that the fly did its job, that they didn't get soaked by a rainstorm. I have to crouch. The next thing we're going to do is spike the tent down. And these spikes keep the tent from blowing away, but it also holds the fly up so that it's not touching the screen. So if the fly gets wet in any way, it doesn't touch the screen and then the moisture rains down on you. So I have a multi-tool here. It has an axe on one side, hammer on the other, a spike puller in the middle, and then a bunch of other stuff, including a beer opener, which may come in handy when you're camping. It might, I don't know. But anyways, so let me just tilt you down. Whoa. And let me show you. There are these ropes. Let me turn you a little bit. There we go. There's these ropes that are attached to the spikes. And they all have a different mechanism for doing this. And then you just go and you just oops, oh, got loose. Okay, make sure it's tight, and you just hammer your spike in. And don't hammer the rope that comes with it, because if you hammer the rope, you could break it. So I'm going to do that for each corner. There's another rope over here. Okay, so just to give you a tour, look at that view. Here is our tent. It's all spiked out. I'm going to move that ground sheet over just a little bit so it isn't exposed. You can see it right there. I'm going to move that under just a little bit more. But our tent is all spiked out and all the bases are covered. This tent is not going anywhere if it rains out. Now you can, or it gets windy. Now you can see that there's space underneath the tent. It's supposed to be there because that allows for airflow, so you won't suffocate. You want to be in the great outdoors to breathe some fresh air. That helps. Now again, the fly will take any water and it will just resist it. It'll flow off. But again, you want to put this together right, because if it presses against the screening, it might lose some of its efficiency. And let me show you this. Opening up the zipper, just so you can see inside. That's the inside of the tent. You can see that's where the air is going to come through. But you can also see that the tent's built kind of like a bathtub. So any water that gathers around the base will not soak you. Water may splash in. If you have an enormous thunderstorm and it's driving sideways, you might get a little moisture in. But honestly, I've been through everything in this tent and I have not had any water get on me. I've had even driving thunderstorms. As long as you spike it out right, make sure it's spiked out, make sure that the fly is not resting against the screening, and you should be fine. One other tip in tent management: be gentle. Be super gentle with the zippers. These zippers are very, kind of delicate in their own way. So you want to be easy with them. Don't rush it when you're zippering up and down. Just don't. Because if you get a snag, it's a real pain to deal with. So make sure that you go easy on the zippers. And that includes the fly zipper too. Because if you come up and down too fast with it, then there's a good chance you're going to get cloth stuck underneath it and you're going to have another zipper jam. And honestly, those are just not fun to deal with. So that's how to put up your home sweet home in the woods. It's really not that hard. I mean, I had to work around some wind and the camera and some things, so it took me a little longer than usual, but it's very basic. Follow the instructions, practice at home, get it right, then take your home sweet home in the outdoors out for a camping adventure. So I'm Larry Richardson. I am your step-by-step chef. This is Cooking and Camping with a Step-by-Step Chef. So I hope you will go to stepbystepchef.com to see my camping cooking recipes that can also be made at home. They're easy and delicious, and additional videos about how to camp the step-by-step way, and then watch how I do it and then make it your own. So I'll see you in the next episode.